Okay, we are starting. Hi everyone who is with us today. We will wait for some people to until they join us. We are talking today about the privacy, about privacy for business, actually, right? And we have a really interesting topic today. Before we are waiting for all people like joining us, I would like to talk just a bit about myself, about my experience, and just to give a more overview of what I'm doing, right? So, I'm a privacy practitioner and a certified privacy professional. I'm also a data protection officer for one of the international company. So basically, what I do is I am helping companies and businesses to protect their businesses, to stay compliant, to help them to figure out difficult issues in a really simple manner, right? Uh, Always privacy and everything connected with personal data protection makes a lot of businesses frustrated. They do not understand what actually they need to do, where they shall start with, right. So that is my role, and I particularly help a lot of businesses, specifically startup businesses, small businesses, and medium ones. So this is the first aspect that I would like to pay your attention to. That this webinar specifically and all other one, they are focused on business entrepreneurs, on business owners, on actually product developers, right? So anyone who is engaged in personal data, and whenever you try to develop some product, right? So you're always are getting in touch with the personal data, and this is the first issue that actually you need to think about. So this is not for a legal expert, for privacy professional. This is specifically for I would say for business sector, right? I would like to talk maybe a bit just about the purpose of this webinars, and to let you know a bit more about this. So I was thinking about like preparing some type of educational content for business entrepreneurs, for product developers, for startup owners, and to help them to get acquainted with their difficult topics in like simple manner, in simple words. So this is one of the main purposes. And the issue is that when business only starts, and when in most cases, when someone comes to me, it's usually one business owner, or sometimes it's just two of them, and they are seeking for some help, for some compliance advice, right? So they're always limited on their resources. They need help with this, but always it's pretty complicated, and they don't know where to start. So this is like the first purpose is to help these business owners to get acquainted with this topic, and to learn more about the privacy and about the privacy requirements that every business owner should be aware of. And the second purpose is more of educational nature. So I do hear a lot from businesses, sometimes from managers, from different types of from the teams, right? They tell me that, oh, we are too small, or we just started, we don't need to care about privacy, it's too early for us, all this stuff. So, and I always say that you guys need to do it from your first actually stage, like whenever you start, you need to think about this, because there is a plenty of different privacy laws around the world right now. So we don't talk only about United States privacy laws. We will talk about European Union law, United Kingdom, like Asian privacy laws. There's a plenty of different privacy laws nowadays, really. And sometimes people just don't realize that how many privacy data protection laws there exist right now, right? So there's more than 160 privacy laws around the world, in different countries, are effective as of today, and you should be aware of this, right? I mean, it doesn't mean that you will need to comply with all of them. I'm just saying that you need to think about this more like deeply, because you don't know whether you need to comply with this one or with the other one. That's why you need to learn more about this. You need to be at least aware of their existence, right? So this is my purpose. And I hope that this webinars will be really helpful, will be really useful. So I will not provide any specific legal advice or any consultation during these webinars. My goal is primarily educational, informational for these webinars, and I will continue doing this. I will continue streaming webinars for different topics. If you're actually specifically interested in some aspects of privacy and you would like to learn more about them, you're welcome to post in the comments and let me know what you would like to learn more about in the next one. So I'll definitely do this. But today, as I've already mentioned, we are having our first topic, and as you might see, it's about their 3 privacy grounds or 3 privacy principles. So just to make some intro about this topic, why I just pick up like this specific one, I would like to say that this aspect is not like clearly defined maybe in all privacy laws. You will never hear about it like a separate requirement or like a separate obligation, right? Because they are pretty generic, they're pretty general, and you may think that what is this about? Like, why do we need this? Why do we need to pay attention to this, right? But I would like to say that this is the core, this is the fundamental of the privacy law, of the personal data protection. So even if some privacy laws do not have specifically these privacy principles embedded within their text, they're interconnected in their other provisions of their privacy laws, and they will definitely will matter, right? So today we will talk about 3 privacy principles, and they are data minimization, there's purpose limitation, and also consent. So as I have already said that these principles, they're for sure, they matter, and they will be present in almost all privacy laws. And the first time when I've actually got acquainted with them, it was when European data protection law was adopted, right? So the first European data protection law was GDPR, as you all know, as you might know, right? So it was adopted back in 2018, and this is where the path with their personal data protection, with their interest in my privacy law began, right? I'm until today I continue to say that GDPR is still a constitution in the protection of personal data, and I don't really think though, because a lot of privacy laws that were adopted later, they were actually adopted based on their principles of this GDPR, right? They have some basic obligation, the requirements that are repeated in other privacy laws that in the United States specifically, we have a really complicated situation in terms of personal data protection, because we have separately, we have federal law, federal legislation with regard to separate sectors. So they do not apply absolutely to all businesses, right? And we also have parallelly, we have state laws. So meaning that specific states are continuing to adopt privacy laws which apply specifically to the state, and they do have their own requirements. And it's one of the issues that made the companies really frustrated about, because they don't know how to apply them. They don't usually know how they can follow all these laws simultaneously, right? So there are a lot of issues about this, a lot of questions. So we do not touch any specific laws today. Our primary purpose is to better understand what are these principles about, and just to get the main, I would say, the general idea of how it works in practice. And as I've already said, I will try to bring the complicated issues in really simple words to make it clear for every business owners, for every product developer, for maybe just website developer, who knows, because in business, they're usually the person who develops the websites or the app. This is the business owner of the company. So it's usually like the clients that come to me and they ask for help. So let's move to the topic, and let's start with the first principle. So the first principle is the data minimization. So just guess, when you hear minimization, what are you thinking about? So I would say that you might think about minimizing something, make it like straightforward. Do not make it unlimitless, right? So meaning that what we need to do, what we need to think about it in the principle of data minimization is that we need to think about making our personal data collection as minimum as possible. So what does it mean? When we have the company, or when we have some product, some website, and you enter this website, you see plenty of different website forms. Sometimes you're registering your account. Sometimes you need to, for example, to enter some personal information to be able to purchase the product, to be able to sign up for a newsletter, let's say, right? So all the time you will see different points on the websites where this personal data is collected. So when we talk about data minimization, we need to think about whether we really need all this data that we are collecting. And this is the question that you need to ask, that you need to post actually from the owner's perspective, because this is the owner's responsibility to take care about this. They need to be really careful and really think twice about the issue, how many data they are collecting. This is the first and main point, because sometimes when I enter some random website, I see a form where, for example, for demo version, for example, or when you want to get some more, when you actually want to get some more information about the product or the services of the company, and you see a website form. So you need to enter their personal data there to be able to, the company to get in contact with you. And sometimes these forms are really ridiculous. I mean, you don't need to enter your date of birth. You don't need to pass your gender or to mention, let's say your mailing address, right? To do this. There's no need in it at all, right? So when you want to get some basic information, like if you need to contact your perspective, right? So the website visitor that it is interested in your product, you don't need a lot of information about them. So basically only their email address and phone number, or maybe one of this will be pretty much this, right? You don't need any more. But this is what's happening a lot in business, in the practice. So when we talk about data minimization, you need to ask yourself whether do we really need this data, right? So for what purpose we will use this data? How do I actually use it, right? Why I'm using them? All this question you should ask when we talk about data minimization. I will give you another example, right? Because we will talk about the practice, and it's the better way to learn about some specific issues, some theoretical issues, is to give your examples. So let's say we have an e-commerce website, right? And what actually you as a website owner need from your customers when, for example, you want to ship some products to them. For sure, you will need the name of this person. You will definitely need their contact information, like phone number, their email address. And to ship this product, you will definitely need their mailing address, right? All other information that is up there, you probably won't need it at all. So this is about being critical. This principle is about being really careful and critical when you choose what data you want to collect about your clients, about your customers, or just website visitors. Okay, so let's continue to the other principle, and I will let you know about more. We will learn more about this one also in the practical view. So the purpose limitation. What is this, and why does it matter? Purpose limitation meaning that when you're choosing how you will process the data, meaning how you will get in connection with this data, what will you do with this data, you will need to ask what actually we need to what the purpose we try to get when we're actually getting this data. So let's say again we have our website. Let's take for example another example. Let's not talk about e-commerce website. Let's talk about some beauty industry. Let's talk about salon, right? For example, so you are the owner of business salon, and you have the website that actually helps you to schedule appointments from your clients. Sometimes you get some website visitors and they just browse enrolled in your website, they don't do anything, but they still visiting it, and you're still, as website owner, still collecting some types of information for sure, especially when we talk about automated data collection. And you know always aware about this because you're putting analytics tools like Google Analytics on your website, and they do it automatically, and you can even don't know about this. But we don't talk about this right now. We talk about the specific purposes that you are actually need this data for, right? So I mean, why are you collecting this data? So what the purpose of this website as a salon owner, if you're, for example, is your hairstylist and you have a website. So for sure you will need to schedule an appointment. So to do this, you'll need some personal data from your visitors, from your clients. That's why you actually need to think about this, that this is my main purpose, right? So this data I am collecting in order to actually to be able to put this data in my CRM system, right? To be able to contact this person. Also, I will need maybe to put and to send some reminders to the clients that already scheduled with me. So I will need definitely to get their contact details. Maybe it will be phone number, maybe I will need email address, or maybe I will need both of them. I would say the best practice is to give your users, your clients, the opportunity to choose, because some person prefer to use email address while other one prefer phone numbers, and this is the best one to do, is to give them a choice, to give them opportunity to choose how they want to be contacted. Whether it's email address, whether it's phone numbers, they just need to pick one of this option and enter the details that they want to be contacted with. This is the best one, right? So this is because of this user transparency, and this is also really cool for user trust, right? So you are aware of this principle of minimization, right? Which we talked about earlier today, and this is purpose limitation. So you know for sure that you need this data, and you know for sure why you need this data, right? So, and you're doing this, you're actually respecting both of this principle in this case. You're respecting the principle first, right? The principle first is data minimization, and you're respecting principle purpose limitation because you have clearly defined and specific purpose. Another issue, guys, that I want to pay your attention to when we speak about purpose limitation is that this principle really against being too general, being too generic in formulation in your wording. So sometimes I do see a lot of privacy policies of the really big companies that state that we are going to use your data for our business development, or we are going to use your data to enhance our products, to develop even more better versions, like to, I don't know what else, the most widespread version is like to measure the results or something like this, right? So this characteristic, this wording is too broad, right? It's not clear for your users how actually you will use this data. So I mean, it's really hard to understand for them what is the main purpose behind this. What do you mean, guys? What do you mean when you state this? It's not about user trust, and it's not about being clear and about being limited in your purpose. It doesn't work like this. So the main point here when we talk about purpose limitation is to be as more specific as possible. When you gather some data, and you should be like 100% sure and aware about the purpose, about actually why do you need this data, and you will need to be able to explain to your users, to your public, to your audience, how you're planning to use them, right? Another issue that's really important about purpose limitation, that you cannot just freely reuse this data for any other purpose later. Sometimes a lot of business owners just think that it's enough for me to get the consent of users for once, and then I can reuse this data for any other purposes. So I don't need to worry about this later. I don't need to think about whether I need to ask them about this. I don't need to inform them. But this is really a big mistake. This is really a real challenging issue, because sometimes business can develop, so the product change, there's functionality, you're adding new features. Maybe you will even like remove someone but replace it with another one, and this issue arises. So you understand that you get the consent from your users when your product was at the other level, when it get another functionality. And now you're implementing new features and you're planning to use this data in another manner, especially when we talk about using AI tools or implementing some AI tools in your product. And in somehow it will influence how you will get the decision about user, how you will take maybe how you will actually how these decisions will influence the user. Will it in any way discriminate maybe them, especially when we talk about healthcare industry, educational industry, or housing industry. This is a big problem, and you cannot just take this data and use them whenever you want and however you want them, right? This is the big problem. So no use without any clear ground, without any clear compliance actually decision before you will do this. This is not acceptable at all. Okay, so we are done with this principle, with the principle of purpose limitation, and let's move to the third one, which is actually really ground one, and this is the one that I would say that a lot of violations happen around this principle. This is the consent one. So whenever you think about consent, everyone understands what it means. I mean, everyone understands that it's about your users, your clients agreeing to something, right? So when you have your website, when you have your app, mobile app, whatever you have, right, it doesn't matter. So we all know that they actually need to agree to your practices, especially when we talk about personal data protection. So to process this data, to be able to freely use this data and to be compliant in this matter, you need to get the consent of your users. And this consent specifically needs to be always informed. It shall be freely given, it shall be unambiguous, and all these principles that are part of this consent on this consent concept, they are pretty important, and not everyone usually understands what it means. So let's talk about the first part of this principle. This is informed. So what it means, informed consent? So your users need to clearly understand what is this consent about. It means that you need to clarify this, and the way you're doing this, you're preparing this privacy policy, privacy notices which you are placing on your websites, and you're describing all these issues. So everything that is actually is written, that is fixed in your privacy policy, meaning being informed. But it's not actually only about informed, right? Because there is also another aspect of this consent principle, because the consent should be also freely given, meaning that your users, your clients, they should not be pressured to give their consent. And I will give you an example. So when some companies make this consent like a requirement to purchase their to purchase their product or to get their services they are offering, it makes really bad, because it's against this consent being freely given at all. So I'm just clarifying this a bit. So whenever you see the website which offers which actually propose some kind of products, and let's say again about beauty industry, for example, you want to purchase I don't know, some new set of makeup, right? And what I see when you are making purchase, they are forcing you to actually to mark the checkbox to sign for their marketing newsletter. Without this, you are not able to proceed and to place your order. And this is a big mistake. I would say that's like a really huge violation. And the reason is that there are different types, there are different purposes of personal data use. There are necessity, where you actually as a business owner really need this data. And there are also there is also other types of other types of situations when you are not obliged to collect this data, meaning that it's not obligatory for your business to function, to operate, right? So when we speak about marketing, when we speak about advertising, it's not an obligatory issue. So you cannot force your users to put this mark, to agree to be in the part of this marketing newsletter, to be able to make the product, to be able to get this product, to make this order, because this is the purpose of your business. You're functioning as like a retailer, let's say, like you're in the commerce industry. So you're offering to your users the opportunity to order from you. And you cannot say him that, okay, I will do it only if you're subscribed to my marketing newsletter, and I will do with your data whatever I want, right? No, it doesn't work like this. No, you just cannot force your users. It's not about freely given consent. So whenever you guys see this, I would like you to run from this website, right? And don't do it in your practice. It's a really big violation. So this is about freely given, right? This is about not about imbalance, because you need always to balance customers' interest with your business interest. And whenever you see any imbalance, whenever you understand that your users are really in a bad position, so they cannot influence your decision, they cannot reject it because they will not get this product, it means that you're making something wrong, that you're doing really bad decisions in this case. And what else we have? We also have another aspect of the consent, which is unambiguous. So what does it mean, unambiguous? It means that you should be 100% sure that your users actually agreed to this, that it wasn't your I would like say your desire, right, that they have done this. It should be there should be no actual room for confusion that these users, that these clients have agreed to this. I will also give you an example in practice that also happening a lot. When you see different check boxes, these check boxes in our online industry, they serve as a confirmation from getting consent from users. And when your user needs to, for example, to agree to the terms or to the privacy policy about the personal data collection, they need to actively check this mark. They need to actively check this box. Only in this case, it will mean that your user, at least they were able to review your privacy policy. They would be able to get acquainted with the content. So that actually their responsibility to be sure that they had time to read them, they had time to understand them, they needed to clarify some issues, so they could do it before actually checking this box. So in this scenario, it means that it was freely given and unambiguous consent, because they did do it by themselves. They marked this. But sometimes I see other scenarios when you are, for example, in the checkout page, and you need to fill out all the information, all your personal detail before moving forward, right? And you see that the check mark box where you need to actually to pick it up, right, to check it, it's already checked. So meaning that by default, the website is actually designed in such a way that it is already marked. So you don't need to make any active actions from your side. You just need to fill out all your information and just proceed, and you will be all set, right? And this is really a really big mistake. Another example, which is also a violation, it's not actually a violation, but it's not about getting consent, it's about violating the basics of personal data protection. So sometimes you will never see any checkboxes at all. So sometimes you share your information without being any aware of the existence of this privacy policy, about the existence of how you're without awareness of how the company will process your data. Why do they collect them? So sometimes this privacy policy just put in their footer of the website, and never anyone will ever read them, will ever open them, because there is no need. I mean, users just don't think about this. Users are not professionals. They don't think about privacy, about personal data protection every day. So to make this clear for them, you need to put it before actually proceeding with this personal data collection, right? So they need to be aware of it, and this is your responsibility to make this right. So this is it. That's actually all these principles we talked about today. As you might see, all these three principles, data minimization, purpose limitation, and consent, they are really, really interconnected with each other. So when I explained one of them, I would definitely touch the previous one or some of them together, because it's not like we cannot talk about them without any connection. It's really important to understand, right? So the issue that I would suggest you do if you run a business, if you have a website, if you're just maybe a small company, as you think, and you don't need to worry about it, it's for sure to start with like a simple data inventory, right? So if you have maybe you have a developer within your team who could help you with this, you could ask for help, because you need to definitely to be able to collect all information about how many data you collect, be able maybe to put there in some table to understand for what purposes you actually do we really need this data that, or this piece of data that we collect. Maybe we need to remove something, maybe we need to redesign our websites to make it more clear, to make it more simple for website owners, for website users. You also need to check your privacy policy, definitely. You will need to review it, whether everything is clearly described there, whether all purposes are fixed within this privacy policy, or whether all personal data are described, whether you haven't forgotten anything to mention there. This is the best way to start with, right? I'm not talking about like really difficult and hard issues right now, because I know that it's making really complicated, but this is like one of the best starting points I would suggest doing. So we are wrapping up everything today, and if you're actually thinking about, maybe you have some questions still about this topic, and you would like maybe to clarify some really interesting points about this, or to get more details on this, you are welcome to put the comments here right now, or if you see this webinar after, you can definitely text me in LinkedIn, for example, or in our corporate Marketplace page. I will be happy to answer your question, and for sure to take a note on the next topics that you will be interested in. So thank you for your attention. Thank you for your time, everyone who joined us today, and see you next time.